Good day, class. Welcome to Bread and Pastry Production. I'm Mr. Ganie Magudong, and I will be your facilitator today. Today, I will discuss Lesson 5, Basic Baking Ingredients. This lesson, I decided to go over some of the basic baking ingredients and how they are used in baking. I wanted to help newer bakers out in understanding when they and why certain types of ingredients like different sugars are used in a recipe. Hopefully, this lesson gives you a quick but comprehensive overview of these common ingredients and allow you to bake with confidence. Learning how to get some of these basic baking ideas and practices will help you get the most out of any recipe. Ingredients are the main star of baked product. The secret to very good food lies in the proper handling of these ingredients and the techniques used in combining, mixing, and combining them. Here are some of the common basic ingredients. Flour. It is a main ingredient of baking which is usually milled from wheat. It contains the proteins, gliadin and glutenin, which when combined with liquid form gluten. When expanded and heated, gives gluten structure to the baked products. The classifications of flour is based on the amount of the protein. Protein determines the gluten strength of the flour. Gluten gives the dough its shapes and form. Remember, the more protein as a flour has, the stronger the gluten strength. Gliadin and glutenin is the protein substances in flour plus the liquid such as water is equals to basic gluten. And then this basic gluten, if we add heat, is equals to the structure of baked product. Three kinds of flour. Number one is bread flour. It has the highest amount of protein, about 11.8 to 12%, thus has the strongest gluten strength. This flour is used for breads. It is creamy in color and it's rather rough and granular. The high gluten content causes the bread rises and gives it shapes and structure. It is also termed as hard flour. It is commonly used for yeast bread, such as breads and sweet dough or like donut, and sturdy baked goods where chew is desirable. All-purpose flour. It is also termed as general purpose family flour. It is made from a combination of bread and cake flour and has a medium gluten strength, which about 10% or 10.5% to 11%. It is suitable for almost any baking purposes. So commonly used in general cooking, pie dough, and cookies. Next is cake flour. Sometimes called as soft flour, as it milled from soft white wheat. It is comparatively low in gluten, about 7.5%, and so result in a finer texture. It is described as weak because the product made from it are tender with delicate texture. It is good for making cakes and cookies where a tender and delicate texture is desired. We have two types of flour mixture. First is the batter, and we also have the dough. Batter is a liquid or semi-liquid mixture of one or more flour and liquid, while dough is a thick, malleable paste made from flour and liquid. Just to sum up, when you say batter, it can be poured and usually used in making cake, while dough, it can be kneaded or manipulated and usually used in making bread. Next is starch. It look like flour, but they have finer grains. Starches thickens and become firm when heated. As they thicken and set, they absorb moisture, which in turn causes liquids to gel. Next is sugar. It is a sweet, soluble organic compound that belongs to the carbohydrate group of food. They are simplest to digest among all carbohydrates. It is a byproduct of sugar cane. Types of sugar. White sugar. White sugar or granulated white sugar is commonly found on the table at home. It produced through a purifying process that removes a brown syrup called molasses. Brown sugar. On the other hand, brown sugar either undergoes less processing to retain its molasses content or is produced by mixing white sugar with molasses. Remember, class, molasses is responsible for its darker color and slightly increases its nutritional value. Brown sugar, it is often called soft sugar because of its moisture content. Maple syrup, sugar that comes from maple tree. Honey, natural sweetener made by bees with 40% fructose and 30% glucose. Corn syrup. It is derived from corn. The cornstarch is broken down by an acid and transformed into sugar. Glucose. It is also made from corn and it is used in candy making and sugar work. Effects of sugar in baking. Increases dough development, makes the color of the crust richer, improves the nutritive value and aroma of the product, makes the bread more tender, increases the volume of the loaf, serve as food for the yeast, contributes to moisture content of baked products increasing in storing quality, and it acts as creaming agent. Fats. What is the differences between fats and oil? Oil and fats are basically the same. The only difference is that oil is liquid while fat is solid. Oils usually comes from vegetables. On the other hand, fats usually comes from either animals or vegetable source. Types of fats. Shortening. It is 100% fat. It is called shortening because it shortens the productions of gluten, which in effect produces a more tender product. So how? When you added shortening to the flour mixture, it helps to preventing the sticking of the gluten strands while mixing so that gluten is shortened and makes the product tender. Butter. It is made of fatty milk proteins that usually has 80% fat, 15% moisture, and 5% milk solid. It has a characteristic called melt in your mouth, which differentiates butter from margarine. Margarine. It is made from hydrogenated vegetables oil. It contains about 80% to 85% fat, 10 to 15% water, and 5% salt. Lard. This is made from fat from pork. Some people prefer lard to other fats, making pie crust and biscuits because it gives a flakier texture. Again, lard, it is derived from animal fat and used in savory pastries and pie doughs. Uses of fat in baking makes bread product tender and improve flavor, assist in gas retention giving better volume and crust, prevent cohesions of gluten, improve aroma, color, and texture, improve the shelf life of baked products because of moisture. Milk and cream product. Milk and other dairy products like water, moisten dough, and butters. They contribute to the nutritive value of baked goods. It improves, of course, the flavor and eating quality, and it gives a golden color. Different kinds of milk and cream. Whole milk contains 31 to 2% of butter fat, 81 over 4% of solid, and about 88% of water. Non-fat milk simply means it does not contain fat. Low-fat milk contains 2% fat. Evaporated milk, it is heated to 200 Fahrenheit. Condensed milk contains 40% sugar. Eggs. Eggs are considered a complete protein, containing all the essential amino acids humans use to build other proteins needed by the body. Both the yolk and the egg white contains proteins. So whole eggs or their separated component may be used to set liquids. They represent almost 50% of the total cost of any baked products, thus considered in baking ingredients with the highest cost or expenses. Uses of eggs in baking. Eggs as well as flour are the structural ingredients in baking. It provides leavening, it adds color, it adds textures, it enhances flavor and richness to the batter. It acts as the stabilizer in the mixture that inherently wants to separate into its two parts like oil and water. They are very important in helping to bind all the ingredients together. Leavening agent. Leavening agents are usually added to the dough to enable it to rise because of the ability to produce carbon dioxide when exposed to heat, responsible for making dough and cake rises. These are the types of leavening agent or the classifications of leavening agent. Number one, natural leavener. This is incorporated during creaming or mixing and it expanded when the product is heated in the oven. Number two, chemical leavener. Carbon dioxide gas is the leavener produced from the chemical reactions that occurs when mixing baking soda, baking powder, and cream of tartar. Next is biological leavener. After reacting with sugar, yeast produces carbon dioxide, a leavening gas. It is used to raise breads, rolls, and other goods requiring a lot of dough handling. Gelatin. It is derived from animal tissue, usually from a pig's skin and bone. It is an incomplete protein which has the ability of solidifying liquid when added to a liquid mixture. Flavoring are natural or synthetic substances that enhance or improve the flavor or aroma of food for variation purposes. Chocolate. It is usually sweet brown food preparation of roasted and ground cacao seeds that is made in form of a liquid, paste, or a block, or used in flavoring ingredients in other foods. Cream of tartar. It is a tartaric acid with addition of starch. It is usually used in meringue. It stabilizes egg whites. Accessory ingredients are materials which are not really needed, but when added to the other bakery ingredients, it improves the palatability and eye appeal of the baked products. Example are glazed fruits, nuts, and cocoa products. This is the end of our lesson. I just hope that you have learned something today. Have a nice day.